Good morning, Vietnam. No, that's not right. Good morning. It's the Chloe Sanctuary and Mander. Hi, Mander. Hi, Mander. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to see if there's anybody in the chat. We don't have a moderator right now, so hi, Jocelyn. Oops. I think we have a moderator.
Hello.
All right. Can anyone hear me? It says the mic is working. I'm not sure.
I can hear you.
Ah, good. Okay. Yeah, it's acting up on me here.
I have to send Eleanor a link. Looks like she wants to come in but doesn't have the link. Can you send it to her, Dawn?
Probably will lose the connection if I try, but I'll try. Because I have to leave. Yeah, I'll try. I just have to leave the screen, so when I do that, it gets weird. Sometimes it cuts me off. Yeah, looks like I'm still here.
You're still here.
It's hard to say because if it sees that I'm out of the window, then it disconnects me. So, what are you doing up there? This is one of the holdouts here. He just refuses to drink from that bottle.
Oh my.
I have to go to him several times a day, and then he doesn't like drinking from me when I hand it to him. So.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Beep, 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 beep.
The sidekick is also here. Hi, Sunny.
Yeah, she's here as well. Hi, Puppet. That's it. Nice to you.
Mander, what do you want? Strange bird, aren't you? Now we're going to be talking about him. He's one of the birds with the balance problems. Aren't you? Aren't you? Aren't you, big boy?
Shall we greet some of our chat frienders now that we're here?
Yeah, we have already a lot of people here in the chat.
So we got Jocelyn and Jem and Jamie and Calvin and Falcon Sue and Rosebud and Kristen. So hello all of you guys. Nice to have you along. Welcome.
Hey guys.
Hello from my side.
Say hi, Bob. We had to go get water yesterday, and he was chatting with. There was a little kid. I took him out of the van, and there was a little boy there who was all fascinated. And Dad goes, "Well, can he pet him?" And I went, "Yeah." He's great when he's not, in his territory. Bob was friendly. He talked in his high pitched little girl voice.
Oh,
Didn't
that's
you?
cute. Hello, Bob. Hello.
Hello, Bob. Yeah.
Hi, Bob.
Sweet.
And there's the look
Yes,
of
it's
Sugar.
funny.
She's like, "You're changing my cage around, and I'm not happy about it."
Oh, that's her. I'm not happy.
Yep.
Sit.
Oh my,
Because
that's a start.
she's pretty tight and has her wings a little out.
Uh-huh.
Look at the way she's
Yeah.
sitting. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it looks funny, like a little bit bodybuilder shirt posing.
Well, I put another bottle in there. She's got 2 bottles in her cage now. She'll drink out of it if I hold it for her. This one won't do it no matter what I do. He just tries to get away from me if I try to get I get a few drops in his beak, but he'd rather not drink water than drink out of that bottle. He's probably going to take a month or 2, but he gets enough water. I bring it to him. I have to put it in his cage, leave it in there for 15 minutes, and take it out. That's how I do it. And he knows that. He knows it's not going to be there long, so he'll go over and take a drink. And this guy, I have a little camera it's one of these relatively inexpensive. It takes a good picture, but it doesn't have zoom or anything like that. But it has a blinking light when it's on, and he knows that. And I'm trying to catch him drinking out of his water bottle, because I'm going to make a video of the birds drinking from their water bottle. 4 days now. I have to take it out to charge it, and as soon as I take it out, he goes up and drinks from the water bottle. So I tried using my iPhone to catch him, and he sees me pointing that, and then he goes down and plays with toys. It's just, I may have to start recording someone else, although he's the best drinker. He and Lucy is good at it too. So Lucy drinks a lot of water when she wants it. So I think I'll move the camera over there because I basically discharged the battery on that thing about 10 times now. And I've gotten nothing. Little monster. You're a little monster. I think it's the red blinking light on the front though that gets him. Yeah, you laugh at me now, don't you? I want to catch as many birds as I can drinking and kind of make a loop out of it so people can use it to get their birds to get the idea. But it's one of those behaviors that you have to scan and capture. So I have the camera on him to try to capture it, and he just won't go near that bottle as long as the camera's there. Blinking. If it's off, he'll go up there, but when that light's blinking, he won't drink out of that bottle. Now, I may just be assuming that, but maybe he just isn't thirsty at those times. But we're talking, I've probably done 30 hours of recording and had to delete every one of them. So, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, we got some comments from chatters. So Rosebud says Sugar looks defiant. Watch out, Don. I think that's a good word, defiant. And Kristen says, I'm praying that my 2 will take to the bottles when they arrive. Dawn, I've been watching your videos and I saw you in the shower, lol.
Yeah, that's one of the early videos.
It's a lot of fun with Bobaloo. He loves his showers.
Well, you don't know. You just have to work with it until it works. With her, I've got her to the bottle now, but so she doesn't drink out of a water bowl anymore. But I have to hold the bottle up for her. So I put a second bottle in her cage, my extra reserve bottle in case one breaks. And I'm hoping that she'll just decide. It's right near her dry food, so I tried moving her wet food down in that area, and that's another reason she's giving me the standoff. You moved my food.
Outrageous. The service is not good in this hotel.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from the sugar bird right now. Gosh, when I moved that wet food, you'd think I just declared war or something. The look on her face, and you're not moving that. You're not moving that. You're not. Sugar. Silly girl. Yeah, I tried putting just the basic notes of where I'm going to go, and it also helps people remember into the chat. I don't know if they're still there. I don't see them. I posted. Let me look. See if it's.
They should still be there.
Yeah, it's just I can't unless I turn the phone this way, which makes the picture smaller. I can't see it. But this way I don't miss something. I couldn't think of any other way to do this except to throw it into the chat. But so he knows about hard falls, but he doesn't really care. If he wants to go down, he'll flop on the ground. He doesn't do it in here because I think he recognizes that it's pretty hard, but he'll run away. He won't flop down, but he will do it in other places. And he falls like a rock. But his severely twisted, when you look at the x-rays, it's just severely twisted here. So he can flap his wings, but not enough to get any kind of lift. You do amazingly well, little boy. You do. And of course, he doesn't have the world's greatest balance either. So if he gets into a tussle with another bird, he ends up hanging off the rope upside down because he loses his balance. And that's just because. Oops, I'm sorry, Bob. I didn't see you there. That's just because his back end is misaligned. So there are a lot of physical things that can cause it. He's missing one toe. That doesn't help. He's got most of it, but he doesn't have the nail. So hi, Bob. I'm just going to keep it this way so I can see the notes I had here to make sure I don't forget anything. Yep. Come on. It's just showing me the new ones. I don't see any of the old notes. Come on. That's typical. One of these days, I have to put in a section for notes. Here we go. Splayed legs can be a problem. I don't have that here. I have seen it. I've seen where birds, their legs stick out. I believe April had a African gray with a splayed leg for a while. So when they got one leg that's sticking out, it's kind of hard for them to perch. I mean, they can hold with one foot, but it's not that easy, and they don't move around that well. Tend to lose their balance. Neurological, I saw a one brain. It's one of those birds that in most states they're illegal, and I can't think of it. But it had neurological issues, so it would start, it'd fall off the perch a lot. What are you doing? What are you doing, big boy?
I think Simone was having neurological problems at one point, wasn't she? Was she falling off her perch? Is she
She
doing better
was.
now?
Yeah, she's better. I can't prove this, but there's that one drug that Bayer is trying to force on everybody. In fact, they were sued by the FDA and had to pay millions because they were using it for every kind of thing in the world. And she was on that gabapentin, right? She was on that, and that's when she started doing the falling. And I advised her caretaker to stop using gabapentin because it's unproven, and there are proven anti-inflammatories. So she went back to meloxicam, and the problem stopped. That's no guarantee. That's anecdotal, but there are certain drugs that can cause the problem too. So. Um,
If
it was
anyone's
a quick.
wondering, Simone she's a sanctuary bird, but she doesn't live at the sanctuary. She lives elsewhere, but she's Cozzy's sister.
Yep. The bird that was having neurological problems was a Quaker parrot. So that can cause it. It can also be things like it says on here. It can be if they fall too hard, if they hurt their head or something, then they can get trauma from that. Infections, um, vitamin deficiencies, not just vitamins, though other things, mineral deficiencies and things like that. So that's why it's important to give your bird a good pellet and to get them to eat mostly those, and then other things on the side. These guys get, they get a few sunflower seeds, they get a little bit of a banana chip, they get a cashew and an almond, but everything else they eat is going to be either from the mash, which has pellets in it, the birdie bread, which has pellets in it, or just the pellets themselves. Don't do it. I can see you what you're doing up there, and don't do it. He was about ready to poop on me. I mean, that's intentional on his part because I separated him from his mate. So don't
He's
laugh at
the
me, Bob.
revenge pooper.
So they make flat platforms, or you can make one yourself. You can take like a 1x and cut a section of it, and then say like a 4x4 section, and you can put these. Hey, watch what you're doing there, little bird. Don't eat my shirt. And he says, I'm Cecil, not little bird. I'm Cecil, not little bird. And then you can get those screws they have a screw on one side and then they have a bolt thread on the other, and wing nuts, and you can attach them yourself with some washers, or you can buy them. But flat surfaces are good for birds that have that problem. Wider perches, 2x4s help. On top of that, the birds will chew on them. If it's a bigger bird, a 2x4, you can go smaller for a smaller bird, but they will shape them the way they like. Lorelei's got hers perfect, and she doesn't try to destroy her perch. She made it the way she likes it, and she leaves it that way. She's got quite the bevel on it. There's a flat section down the middle, and then it's beveled on both sides, and that's what she wants. That little minx has got me convinced that she wants to look out the window, so I had to order another one of those shades, because when I try to peel this thing off the window, it's got those little link strips to attach it to the window, and I want to make sure that when I detach it, I don't end up with bright light in the morning, because it'll wake them up too early, and then they won't take their medicine right. Right, Sugar? Hi, Sugar. Hello, baby. What you doing? What you doing? And putting soft flooring down. With Simone, uh, her caretaker put cardboard down so that if she were to fall, she'd fall on the cardboard. She doesn't do that anymore. You know, rather than falling on the wires, she falls on cardboard. You can put a towel or something like that down there, and then just throw it in the washing machine. Just rotate the towels when you need to every day, so that works because towels are soft.
Because most birds, unless they have another problem, if they do fall, they can sort of fluff themselves up and flap their wings to cushion their fall. So it's not like they're going to go splat. They just need something to cushion them a bit. So
yeah, unless it's neurological, yeah. Neurological, a lot of them will just fall and they won't put out their wings or anything. But that's rare. You don't usually end up with those problems. But I saw it happen in that Quaker, and I got videos of it happening. And bird would be sitting there, and it would just like the lights would go out and it'd fall off the perch.
wow, that's scary.
Yeah, it lived a couple of years. Well, Quakers are kind of they're known for neurological issues, probably interbreeding, and the breeders are just breeding them too close. But there are some anti-seizure medicines that some of them work on parrots, so you can talk to your avian vet about that if you get a neurological problem. But the number one balance issue for most birds is wing clipping. And if I just did a video of what it's like for Romeo to move around in his cage every day. Bob, quit trying to get into my pocket. Would you stop it? Cut it out. You're not going in my pocket.
Wants to make you aware that Jamin Jamie just donated $20 to us. So thank you so much for that, Jamin.
Oh, thank you so much.
You deserve
Bob, can you say thank you? Bob, you say thank you? He says, no, I'm not saying that. I don't believe in thank you. She could say hi now, too. Say thank you. Thank you. Bob, do not eat my clothing. Thank you. Big girl.
And also, Jocelyn Triggle has been a member for 12 months. So well done, Jocelyn. She's a Cosy Guardian.
Cool. That deserves something. Here's a mandarin. Cool. All right. I'm trying to play with this to get my notes back. All right, there we go. Yeah, scoliosis is one I didn't mention misaligned hips too. That's why I need notes for this. Some birds will get you know, they will have problems with moving their back, and so they have issues with balance. Peaches was that example. She didn't have scoliosis per se. She had fused vertebrae in her spine, but it worked out the same way. She couldn't move. I mean, so that's why she kind of looked like a turtle. She couldn't stretch her back at all, and so her balance wasn't good. But you'd never know she was handicapped with all that attitude. Bob, watch it. Watch it. He's trying to be lovey-dovey to my arm in a friendly way, not the other way, but friendly way. Letting me know he's there. You know,
Bob.
right, Bob? So yeah, sometimes like it's that's an issue that's not on here, but some same thing can happen to their back where their vertebrae become fused. And you'll never know that unless you do the X-rays. But that can explain it. So the first thing you're always going to look at is you're going to look at the physical to make sure if it's physical, right? And that includes watching for neurological activity. If your bird falls off a perch, well, you need to get a camera there. So when it happens, you don't have to be standing there all day. You can go back and look at through the film. And this is not a hype, but this will work. You can get like a DJI Osmo Action 4, which is relatively inexpensive, a couple of $100, and you can set that up on a tripod to catch video, and then you can review it on your phone, and you can look back, and it has a low resolution skip too, so you can go right through the video. If it hasn't happened, you can delete it right there on your phone and just set it back up and record again. So I do not have any connection, and just full disclosure, I'm not trying to sell the product. I'm just saying it works, and it's cheaper than a GoPro, but it gives you a good, you can get 4K on it if you want. You don't need to do that though. 1080p is fine for that, and then you can see because you can slow it down, you can watch, you can do the slow-mo on it and see, if their eyes go up. There you see their eyes roll up and they fall off the perch, or if you see them, lean one way or the other consistently, then you kind of have an idea what's going on. And sometimes that's not neurological too. I knew a bird that was having trouble walking around, and then its legs started getting stiff. It turned out it had a tumor on its kidney. But fortunately, they were close to Dr. Jenkins, and he was able to remove the tumor, and the bird got its motion back. But the first thing it started doing was falling off the perch, and then the leg issue, came in. So once the X-rays were in, it was obvious what was going on, and that got solved. So, but the number one reason they have problems with balance is because they have problems with their wings from wing clipping, or like Romeo, who some vet decided it was a great idea to kill 4 of the follicles on his primaries so that on each side he's missing 2 feathers. And now he just walks around all day carefully so he won't fall. Right? Someone's come back to me. You see that, right? She came back to me. Another thing too that happens with besides, well, it is the balance in flight. Yes, I know you want me to pet you. Come here. The balance in flight, right? If you clip their wings, they can still fly. They just don't fly well. So you're much more likely to get a hard fall or injuries based on that. I always like to describe it like if you don't want your dog to run away, so you sever the tendon, the Achilles tendon in the back of their leg, so they can't walk normally. You wouldn't do that, and clipping their wings may not be permanent, but the effects can be. You know, when somebody has to go around for a while without being able to use their arms or their legs, it affects their personality from then on. So, but yeah, you can if a bird's wings are clipped, you can see that there's a hesitancy to move around, and they will look ahead. I know because I've had like Peaches. Peaches is one. Will you stop? Why do you want? He wants my attention so badly right now, don't you? Don't you? What is it about me that you want my attention for? Huh? I love you, Bob. Bob's a good bird. Bob's a good boy. Yeah, I know. I know. He's feeling, he's having what I call a Boo Radley moment. He just wants to know that I'm there. Right, Bob? Are you feeling lonely? Hmm. Now he's going to preen. You want me to pet you? Is that what you want? Huh? Yeah, they use their wings not just for flight, they use them for counterbalance. So if you watch a bird who's climbing up, or like one who, well, probably Jasmine's the best to watch for that. She'll get on a rope and she'll start spinning. Well, when she's spinning and she's trying to get back up, she uses her wings to move. So, and if she loses balance when she's doing her acrobatics, the wings are what she uses to counterbalance, so she doesn't just end up hanging by her feet. Now, they can end up with feet problems if they're always on the same size of rope, which is why you see there's 1.25 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch rope out here. So there's different sizes of rope that they can wrap their feet around, and in their cage they have the 2x4s and usually a piece of rope too, and another perch on the side. So they have different places to put their feet so that they don't end up with them like this all the time, the same thing. They have to stretch them and close them quite a bit. The other thing that you get when you clip wings is you get the less activity. A bird becomes less active. You know, if I put you on a tightrope, I'll bet you the only time you're going to be active is when you're trying not to fall, especially if it's between two 10-story buildings. Your activity will be on trying to stay straight up. It won't be too much on trying to move around. So, you laughing, Bob? Are you coming down to get petted now? Are you coming down to get petted now? Hi, baby. Have you forgiven me? Huh? Have you forgiven me for moving your food around and putting another bottle in your cage? Am I getting too pushy in my old age? Let me make sure you get your water, though. Let me make sure.
So I would like to make a comment because I'm chatting with Kristen in the chat, and she had some questions about becoming a member. And she just became a member through Patreon. So thank you very much for that. And now she's wondering why she's not turning green on the chat. And that's because that are two different things when you are a member on Patreon and member via YouTube. But the thing is, you basically get the same content. The private member content on YouTube you have on the member community section. We do the same posts in the Patreon section.
Yep.
So you don't get the bubble logo on YouTube. That's when you become a YouTube member. But at the end, you help us on both ways and get the same content for it. And we also know that. So thank you very much for that. We are happy to have you. And if you have further questions, just contact us. So thank you very much, Shugi. Say thank you.
Thank
you. Make a tail wiggle for us.
Yeah, thank you. And if you want to have that on here, you can join on here, and you don't have to do the Patreon. It's up to you, whichever one you want to do. So if you want the icons and other cute things you can get with being on here, you can just be a member on here if you want. It doesn't matter to us, whichever works for you. We appreciate the help. Right, Mander? He says, I just appreciate a water bottle. That's what Mander says. I have a water bottle. I appreciate a water bowl, in the same spot it's always been in. Right? And there's one of the things you see with birds that have balance problems. He doesn't tend to move around a lot. When he does, he has a distinct reason for moving. Now, we may not always know it because he gets easily frightened. And that can also be an issue when you have balance problems. I mean, if he's going against Lucy and Lucy says, this is my spot and I'm not moving, he'll tend to, try to go by, but he'll give up because if she gets him going, he could lose his balance. So I think that's the major reason he tends to be, look like a scaredy cat all the time. And if you lost your balance walking on a high wire, you might feel that way too. Especially since he can't fly down. He can barely slow himself with his wings, barely. So, and you can move the perch lower. That's the other thing you need to do when you've got a bird with a balance problem. Is move the perches closer to the bottom so they have less distance to fall. And it's not just so they won't hurt themselves. It's also so that they will feel more comfortable. You would too. You don't really want to be the great Walenda falling off the perch when the perch is high. So Sugar had balance problems. She's pretty much overcome them all now. And that was because she chewed her wings up. Same effect as having them clipped. So some of those pictures when I first got her are, she's just a big fluff ball.
Yeah, Shuggy was a sorry sight when you first got her. She couldn't look more different now.
No, she seemed to be mostly, mostly coverts, what was left of them, down feathers, and semi-plumes. And by the way, parrots are one of the only birds that have semi-plumes. They're not common in the avian world. Common among parrots, but they're not common among other birds. That's like half a down feather and half a secondary feather is what it looks like. Yeah, she's on 1 foot right now. That's not something she would have done when she didn't have a good sense of balance. She always held on with 2 feet. Now she just holds on with 1 when she's going through the nap time thing.
And when it comes to balance, it's not just sitting and perching and walking. There's other things that they need to do as well, such as doing displays, which is one of their natural behaviors. So you also want to consider how you can help them do that kind of thing. So, like, for example, with Peaches, she used to hang on the side of a little cage that was sitting in the window, and she used to hang on the side so she could do her displays vertically instead of horizontally. So you can think of workarounds like that that'll help them do more behaviors.
Yeah, you want to break them in the habit of just sitting there. You didn't have to do that with Peaches. She'd been with me just a couple of weeks when those behaviors came out. I have some of the early videos where I'm talking to her and she's looking at me like, "Who is this?" She's trying to figure me out. You could see it, And within a month, she was starting to run me like I was the houseboy.
Yeah, Peaches was an indefatigable spirit, so she would always come up with things for herself, but with other birds, you sometimes have to encourage them a bit.
But if you have a bird that you don't see any reason why they're not moving around much, not a bad idea to get X-rays and find out. Get a stand. Okay, I just realized somebody pulled that rope off. Been sitting here all day and I didn't realize it till now. There's a rope laying on the floor. It's got to be restretched. You get that exam in there and get the X-rays and see if there's something wrong, because they should be more active. Not all the time, but you know, Pippa doesn't look active right now, but she flies around and she runs around and she's an active little girl.
And of course, if you have a bird that's normally fine and suddenly loses their balance, then that's a big sign you need the vet immediately.
Definitely. There, the CBC is the most important. Get a liver panel too, because that's not part of a CBC. You get the blood test with the liver panel and make sure nothing's going wrong there. If you're not feeding a lot of seed, then you shouldn't have to worry too much about the liver. But you need to check it out, because if they start having trouble digesting their food, then they're going to have deficiencies and that kind of thing. So the earlier you catch it, the better off you're going to be. And there isn't, avian medicine. Avian vets know what they're doing, but they've never made a drug for a bird. Okay, so everything is they have to work out what works for birds, and they have to use medicine that's made for other animals or humans. Here's one of our formerly unbalanced birds. Now she's just chewing her frustration away from having her food bowl moved. Well, my idea was to get the food bowl close to, both of her food bowls close to those water bottles so she couldn't ignore them. But she was less than impressed. I had to end up moving a food bowl back to where it was, so that but she still hasn't you can tell by the way she's looking away from me, she hasn't overcome her ire about that yet.
It's like, how long can she maintain her sulk for?
I hope I don't have to find that out. I thought she was over it, but she's acting like she's doing it again, so I don't know. They have long memories. That's something that they've shown in clinical tests. Their memories are better than ours, probably. Hi, Bob. What are you up to? What are you up to? Hi, Bob. Hi, boy. Hello, Cecil. You want some attention, huh? You get on my shoulder, do you? Hmm? Yeah, I got a Cecil. He's up on my shoulder. Oh, you guys are gonna do that now, are you? I guess you are. Okay, I'll try to switch the cameras, but then as soon as I switch the cameras, they'll stop. So sometimes it's obvious. You can see missing toes, or like with Mander, if you ran his hand down his back, you would know there's a problem there. You don't know what it is. I know the person who had him before tried to tell me that they had X-rays done, and he had a deformed spine, which he doesn't. So they didn't have X-rays done. They were just guessing. You can't guess at that kind of thing. You got to have the X-rays done. But when you run your hand down his back, you realize he has a problem. You just don't know where it is until the X-rays come back. And then if they have obvious deformities, you want to make sure that their ropes are closer to the bottom of the cage, and that they have different. It's always important to make sure they have different sizes of things to perch on. Soft spot to land if it's really bad, if they're really having problems falling. If you can't see a problem, then you need to do the X-rays and the blood counts. Always mention the liver panel, because not all avian vets are going to do that. Some avian vets will try to cut your bill. Some of them will try to, what I call, they'll test you to death. They'll do every test in the known universe to make money. You don't need that either. But a good vet will, if you ask for the liver panel, they'll throw it in. They're not going to charge you for it, but they'll toss it in there too. Now on a smaller bird, if you're talking a cockatiel or budgergar, blood tests are the kind of things you do only when you have to, because there's just not that much blood. And so you do that when when everything else has been X'd out. What are you guys doing? Yawning. When it gets when there's no humidity, you sit out here for a while, you start going yawn. These guys will let me fall asleep too, so you have to wake me up. They will be. I don't know what it is, but if I fall asleep, they just stay calm and play quietly until I wake up, and then they come and all hassle me at once. Never had any argument between the birds while I fell asleep. Yeah, usually it's a 20-minute nap or something, but I wake up and they're just, hanging out. And then they run over and like, oh, he's awake. Let's go mess with him.
And they know you're the referee, so they don't want to play without the ref there.
Yeah, I wish I understood it. That could be it. I have a lot of theories, but I should say a lot of hypotheses. It's been like that ever since I started working with birds, though. If for any reason I fall asleep, I don't have to worry. They're not going to do anything. And that includes Mr. Babaloo. He will behave when I'm sleeping. He's a good boy, aren't you, Bob? Good boy? Bob's a good bird. Bob's a good bird. Bob's a good bird that won't let me film him drinking water. When he works his water ball, it's like watching somebody, outside with a hose. He puts that nozzle in his beak, and the water just floods into him, and he's so good at it. And I thought you'd be one of the last, but he was doing it before I started the full-on. You're gonna do this routine, so right, Bob? Right, Babaloo? Yeah. Hi, Cecil. Hi, Bob. Hey, Cecil.
So, Don, we have a quick question from German Jamie, which is about water bottles. So, she has some parakeets. So, would any of the smaller glass water bottles work for them?
I'm not sure if they make a glass one that small. I think they have plastic ones for the smaller birds. Because on a bird like that, probably an 8-ounce bottle would be fine. And as far as I know, on the glass, they only make 16 and 32. But they might make a smaller nozzle for it, though. I'll look into that. I haven't looked. I don't have any smaller birds, but at least not at this time, right? No goffins or cockatiels. We've had cockatiels. Yeah.
Do you think Mando would be afraid of a cockatiel?
Yes. Cockatiels, they're a smaller bird, but they have a lot of attitude. And if a cockatiel was strutting up to him and sticking its chest out and bouncing against him, he'd run away. And Simone was only 420 grams, and she could run him around a room. Yeah, there's the ravens. Hey, baby. What you doing? What you doing, Cecil? Cecil bird.
Oh, Anne Marie, if you're still here, what do you use for your budgies for their water?
It's something similar like the Lixit bottle, but not exactly the same. So it's not like a ball they have to push their tongue together, but there's just a little water on which basically they can drink off, and the rest is somehow covered. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, there are other companies that make them. Elixir is the most well known, but there are other companies that make them.
That's basically what you get here when you want to buy something your budgies can drink out of.
Well, if you look at all I have to do is show you what a bowl. Let's just take a bowl of water and sit it out for an hour. It has a white scum across the top of it. So I had to change the water quite frequently because the dust in the air, no matter what you do, just still gets into there, and I wouldn't want to drink that. So, not to mention the bacteria, but I mean, around here with all these powder down birds, the water couldn't stay clean for an hour. But yeah, there's other ones out there for smaller birds, and I would just go on Amazon and look for parrot water bottle, or put in budgie water bottle, or cockatiel water bottle, and it should show you. Or there's the other way, which I know I'm going to get static from my our moderators on, is you go to Chat GPT and say, I've got a budgie and I want a water bottle for it. What would be a good one? And you can say, are there any glass water bottles with a stem that is suitable for a budgie? And it will tell you. Some of the answers you can get are pretty good. I'm on septic out here, so I can't put chlorine. I can't use chlorine to clean. But I thought, well, they do something with aquariums, and then the fish swim in them. So I asked about it, and it's sodium thiophosphate. And then I got it to give me a chart, so I know if I used a quarter cup of bleach, exactly what will neutralize it. You mix this stuff into the bleach, and 10 minutes later, it's turned into harmless salt. So I can clean things with bleach, and then I can neutralize it with sodium thiophosphate. So you can get answers like that. I will probably ask about the glass water bottles for smaller birds. I'll just ask Chat GPT, and it'll have the answer. So it's not 100% right all the time, but it's pretty close. What are you doing? Cecil's the one that's 100% right all the time. What's that look for? What's that look for? Is that the Cecil look? Is that the Cecil look? Not the Cecil look. Pet me Cecil look. Get out of there. No, you don't mess with Band-Aids. That has nothing to do with you. That's not a bird injury. Silly bird. Well, guys, it's about that time. Thank you, Amy and Eleanor, for moderating. Thank everybody for being here. Thanks for the super chat.
And thank you, Don and Birdies, for the stream.
Yeah, thank everybody for coming and watching our sweet, sweet birdies here. Babalu being such a sweetheart and preening our Cecil. And Cecil, now he's preening himself. Oh no. Poor Cecil.
Yeah. Cecil's wanting me to pet him right now, so but he'll take preening when he can get it, won't you, boys? Bob's one of the few that will preen you. He does all the preen. He preens everybody who'll let him preen around here, and he's always getting begged to be the preener. I'm the guy that does the preening, and he hardly gets any himself. Well, thanks, guys, for being here, and we'll see you guys soon.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.